October marks 10 years since Spotify launched, and to celebrate, the music streaming service is sharing the top artists and songs of the past decade, as well as key milestones. Joining us now to break it all down is Spotify trends expert Shannon Cook. Welcome, Shannon.
Hi, Elsa. How are you today?
I'm great. Happy to have you here. It's your birthday. Spotify is turning 10.
It is.
Yes. So tell us.
Happy birthday to us.
Yes. How has streaming helped change the way that people listen to music?
Good question. I mean, I think that what makes the Spotify experience special is that not only can you access your favorite artists and songs instantly, but it's also really easy to organize your music into playlists. And our listeners have created more than 3 billion playlists, and they create multiple playlists for all occasions, from working out to road trips. And what we've found is that playlists are a really good vehicle for helping our listeners discover new music as well. We have some expert-created Spotify playlists which listeners really lean on to find out what songs are current and to find out about new songs and artists.
So who are the top artists and what are the top songs of the decade?
Okay, cool. Let's start with the top artist. The most streamed artist of the decade is Drake, followed by Ed Sheeran. Those two artists are just always favorites on Spotify. The third most streamed artist is Eminem, followed by The Weeknd, and then followed by Rihanna. Rihanna, by the way, was our first artist to reach 1 billion streams on Spotify, and she achieved that in 2013. As for the top songs, well, the most streamed song of the last decade is Ed Sheeran's Shape of You, followed by One Dance by Drake, and then Closer by the Chainsmokers. And all those songs, all three of those songs have streamed more than 1 billion times.
My goodness. So if you look back at what was popular in 2018 when Spotify actually launched, do you see a big difference from today's music landscape? How has it changed?
It's a good question. I would say that in recent years, the last few years, we've seen hip-hop really emerge as the favorite genre on Spotify. If you go back to 2008, 2009, there's not nearly as much hip-hop in our top lists. However, if we focus on 2008 for a second, our most streamed artist that year was Lady Gaga. And today, everybody's talking about Lady Gaga because of her star turn in A Star Is Born. And the song from that film, Shallow, is doing so well. It's really climbing our charts. And listeners are listening to it on repeat. So I would say some things are different, but some things are the same.
It's nice when some of those artists have that longevity. Really nice. So Spotify says that it's all about helping people discover new artists as well. How do you know that that part of it is working?
That's a good question. I mean, what we've noticed is that our listeners are increasing the number of artists that they listen to. So if you go back, say, 2 decades when people owned a collection of albums or CDs at home, and they tended to listen to those same artists over and over again. But now that you have practically the world's music at your fingertips on Spotify, we have 40 million tracks, we're noticing that people are, increasingly listening to more artists. So maybe in 2008 you listened to 4 different artists. Maybe in 2018 you're now listening to 15 different artists. And we think that's because people are discovering new artists all the time on Spotify.
A lot more accessibility. So where can people go for additional information and to learn about the songs of the decade?
Well, we created a massive playlist to celebrate our 10th birthday, and it's filled with all the top songs of the last decade. It's called Decade of Discovery. Just search for that on Spotify and you'll find it. Our listeners have really been enjoying it. It's a nice little walk down memory lane.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Shannon. Really appreciate you being here. And we'll be right back with more Midday Maryland right after this. Stay tuned.